everybody. Haven't been up, been on in a little bit. I think it's been a week or so since my last live. I just thought I'd come back on, say hi to my favorite people to communicate with online, which would be a few of you folks that come on and help me, and just by talking about the movement of growing indigenous rights, native rights, for a new generation of our people, you know, and yeah. Chris from Arizona, what's cracking, brother? Nothing much. Nothing much. Just chilling. Thought I'd go on real quick before the last couple hours of before I start work in a few hours, and just wanted to say what's up. Hope everyone is doing good. Do you think this then taking birthrights away is crazy? I don't know what you mean by that, brother. It's getting bad. Donald Trump, that's an interesting one. He really, really doesn't like our people. He says he does. He likes them when they're subjects to his Eurocentric, white American manifest destiny beliefs. And, I post a lot of videos, I post a lot of reels, especially on my Instagram. And I get a lot of hate. I just posted a reel yesterday talking about stolen land and Native American genocide. And I got 24,600 comments in 20 hours. And the majority of the comments being by white people, white men specifically, saying that, we were conquered, we need to get over it, it wasn't, that's conquest for you. And it's been happening for all of human history. And while that may be a half-truth, that is true. Genocide has happened throughout the history of the world. It doesn't make it okay, though. And to compare the genocide, and arguably the largest genocide in human history, to a sports team fighting another sports team, or to perpetuate that you're a stronger and better force, and that we deserved to die, we deserved to get raped, we deserved to get conquered, is dehumanizing. It's dehumanizing against indigenous people. And I think it's really deeply much so a white guilt thing. It is a white guilt thing, because they're projecting the insecurity and the immorality, of their people. Yes, natives have fought natives. Yes, natives probably have enslaved other native peoples throughout history. All peoples have. But to write off and say that we were the worst, or we deserved it, or we needed to die, is completely different. I mean, tribal disputes are tribal disputes. But to go to a different continent and attack and murder innocent peoples to this day is wrong. It's wrong. It's not okay. The idea to continue to demonize the native in order to perpetuate the idea that the American way is the right way will never end unless we tackle it head on and get confrontational. And I don't mean being violent. I don't mean hurting anybody. But I think that we need to really dig our heels in And we need to have peoples who are native, who are from all different tribes throughout the Americas band together, come together, and speak the truth. I think we have forgotten, many of us, with colonization, they have made us believe we don't have any power. They've made us think that we don't have much strength in our minds and our creativity, but we are very powerful people. History, when you look into it, has the receipts of our power as Native people, and I think that it's important that we remember this. It's important that we know that the enemy is not a color, but it's a mindset. And that mindset is to conquer, control by any means necessary for the benefit of oneself. It's the greed of the white man. It's greed in general, but white people tend to be, a lot of them, not all, have a track record of being the most unempathetic in many ways, historically speaking. Not all white people are bad. I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to say that a lot of them, they continue to romanticize the oppression that their ancestors have violently imposed upon Native people. And they continue it too. It's not in the past. Exactly. Germany committed genocide, so all Europeans are bad too. I think it's just about growing up, and I'm not saying all natives, we're in a position where we, our clarity of mind and our traumas don't affect our way of thinking. I think that they do, intergenerational trauma. But I know that we do have truths that are being suppressed by white America. White America doesn't like Mexico or Mexicans or so-called Latinos. I say so-called because that's a colonial name. White America doesn't like Native people. White America likes having them, give them a honorary place at the table, but they would never have their own table for themselves. We need to understand that, we've been branded and brainwashed in so many ways. We're called illegals, but we truly are the originals of this land. We're the originals. We're the original peoples of this land, of this native land throughout the continent. We are the originals. But we have been branded every other name but. Every name that separates and strips us from our authentic selves has been pushed upon us. But the truth, the truth is we are the original people. The truth is that we are Native people. The truth is that most Mexicans, most Belizeans, Guatemalans, Peruvians, Hondurans, Chileanos, they're native. They're native peoples. They have native roots. A bulk of their culture is indigenous. They can reclaim that. They can identify with that. But the truth is also that it's been suppressed. It's been denied. It's been shamed in our society to completely ignore our native roots because we've been brainwashed to believe that being native is to be stupid, being native is to be savage, being native is to be primitive, being native is to be of a low IQ peoples. And I don't believe it. I don't believe it because it's simply just not true. It's not true because our history paints a clear picture of who we were, and we were nothing to be ashamed of. From Greenland all the way down to the tip of Chile and Argentina, we are native peoples. We're not illegals. The true illegals have brainwashed the original peoples of this land to believe that they are illegals, to believe that they are foreigner. The true foreigner has brainwashed the native original peoples of this land and continent to believe that they are foreigners, that they are alien, that they are from a different place. They are from a different terrain. They are from a different world. They are cockroaches to be ignored. They are of a low level. They are inferior people. That is what you do not want to be. You do not want to be a wetback beaner. You do not want to be a drunken no-life Indian. This is the mindset of the colonizer. You know, it's the position that we have been put in to some degree, but it is also the stereotypes of the white man to keep us down, to believe, you know, the brown person, the brown man has never ascended to greatness in any form at all. But when you look at the history, the receipts are different. The truth is different. You look at the largest pyramid in the entire world in recorded human history, it is in Cholula, Mexico, which is in Puebla, the state of Puebla in Mexico. There's probably bigger ones that are covered in jungle, but this is the one that has been found and measured, and it is the largest in the world. It goes by Tlachihualtepetl, which in Nahuatl translates to man-made mountain. Man-made mountain. So the largest temple, pyramid, structure in the entire world was made by indigenous peoples of the Americas. I don't think that would be, you know, a stupid person wouldn't be able to do that. Someone who is of low IQ would not be able to do such an amazing feat. That's massive. It's a massive historic accomplishment. We've been told we're subhuman, and we believe it. I can tell the way that our people even look at themselves in the mirror, they look at themselves like they are subhuman, that there's something wrong. You know, we need to have loyalty to our own selves. And the Mexican, and I believe other natives, are in a place where they don't have loyalty to themselves. They don't have loyalty to their own people because they believe what the white man has taught them. They believe what the colonizer has taught them. They believe that they are inferior and that they need to hide themselves. They need to dye their hair. They need to assimilate into popular culture. They need to forget who they are because that is not going to get them nowhere in this life. That being native, embracing your dark skin, your indigenous features, your proud culture, your history will get you nowhere in this life. That's what we've been taught. That's what we've been taught. And I think that has to end. That's the end. That has to end. We cannot be ashamed of who we are anymore, any longer. The white man has kicked dirt in our eyes in order for us to be blind to ourselves. But the dirt can wash out and you can see the truth of what we are. This isn't about being a victim. This is about getting out of victimhood. This is the exact opposite of what they like to say that we are trying to do, that we are in. They try to say that, oh, you're playing the victim. I'm not trying to play the victim. I'm trying to get out of victimhood. I'm trying to get out of the oppressive state. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. I'm practicing self-preservation. For the last 500 years, you've been shitting on my people. You've been destroying my people. The way they view themselves, their self-image has been distorted because of your colonialism, because of your colonization, because of your hatred for my race, so you could benefit off of our resources, so you could benefit off of our ancestral inheritance. The psychological warfare, exactly, Spiral Web. It is psychological warfare. It's not right. It's not okay. You know, and I don't care to make certain white people uncomfortable. I'm not trying to hate on white people as a whole, but I'm just talking about the culture of colonization that is the bulk of Euro-American culture needs to end. It needs to end. And this isn't a movement about violence. This is a movement about accountability. This is a movement about self-preservation. This is a movement about self-respect. This should make you angry. People have also raped all over the world. People have also cannibalized all over the world. People have done horrible atrocities all over the world. But because when I speak, the white man likes to do this very same thing every single time. Norm Daniels is a great example. People have done these things all over the world. If I went over to your house and I burned it, and then I killed your sister, and I killed your mother, and I killed your father, or I enslaved them, and I took your house, maybe 50, 100 years, a couple hundred years have passed, and I tell your descendants, this shit happens all over the world. You're gonna be like, what the fuck? A lot of horrible things happen all over the world, but that doesn't make them right. Bad things don't make other bad things okay. Doing terrible deeds and terrible acts and then benefiting off of them in the present moment does not make it okay. It doesn't make it okay. I can tell that you white people, a lot of you, you guys get really upset because you think that you compare genocide to like a video game or like a board game. You think it's okay because you're the victor. So people's lives, their cultures, their children can be exploited, raped, and murdered just because you get your resources. I mean, that's the flawed colonial logic that a lot of white people have, especially in the comments. They think that because I came in and took your shit, I'm better than you, so you got to shut up now. And all these atrocities that continue to this day are okay because you're a loser. Horrible, dehumanizing, disrespectful, backward fucking logic. Twisted, distorted, demented logic. Has nothing to do with white people. It just, the main people who are bitching happen to be white. No, it has nothing to do with you being white. It's just that the bulk of people who are bitching happen to be white. And that they validate the genocide of an entire race of people. I said what I said. It stands on its own, really. It really does. You can try to play this wordplay, but what I said is completely just and logical. Two wrongs don't make a right. Validating genocide in any form is wrong. Just because you take someone's shit and you win a war doesn't make the war just. That's flawed logic. Hurting people for the sake of taking their shit and proclaiming yourself a winner is not morally sound or just. It's just wrong. It's a wrong thing to do. What the Germans did to the Jews was morally wrong. That was morally wrong. You could call them the weaker people all you want, but it's morally incorrect to bring people into internment camps, concentration camps, and murder them, melt them in ovens, and gas them is morally incorrect. For the sake of them being a weaker people that need to be destroyed. Horrible. There's nothing there. There's nothing you can say logically that makes that okay. Two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs don't make a right. The greatest genocide, the largest genocide in human histories, was not Nazi Germany. 8 million Jews. It wasn't the Armenian genocide. 3.8 million Armenians. It wasn't the transatlantic slave trade, even though the transatlantic slave trade isn't treated as a genocide of humans, which it should be because 2 million people died. 2 million people died in the transatlantic slave trade, one of the largest. But in the Americas, the continent of the Americas, it was 120 plus million people, making it the largest human genocide in recorded history, but it's the least talked about. We don't have, by the logic of the colonizer, colonial logic, we shouldn't have, Jewish memorial memory museums because they were losers. We shouldn't have those things because these people are inferior, they lost, they were losers. That's the logic. I'm pointing out the flawed logic of this. And I don't believe in people can't change, or I think even the worst of people can change and become better. But perpetuating this ideology of destruction and destroying people who live a different way is incorrect. You see, it becomes a game of generalizing people. I can't generalize all white people off of what the Germans did in Nazi Germany. I can't. Why? Because there's diverse groups of European people. Romanians are very different than German people. The English are pretty damn different from French people, and vice versa. It just goes on. There's a lot of diversity. And they have completely different outlooks from each other for a large amount of their cultures. And I think that, like I said before, not all white people are bad people. Not all groups of Europeans are bad. That's a fact. But I do think that, when Europeans speak on Native people, there's just generalization. When we talk about the Native peoples of Mesoamerica, everyone wants to jump on the fact that they were all like the Aztec. There were all these barbaric savages who practice human sacrifice, right? But I don't think I know that isn't the case at all. You know, even the human sacrifice element of to what has been taught to us is very highly up for debate, because the narratives of where this stuff was recorded were recorded in Catholic churches, you know, under the viewership of a lot of priests who were European, who had indigenous servants. So these takes cannot be trusted completely. You know, and a lot of scholars believe that it's, again, that manifest destiny mentality that has poisoned the history of our people. But again, you know, the Mexica, the Aztec, even if we were to throw that bone there and say, yeah, that is 100% true, completely factual, you know, there's still hundreds, thousands of different native nations throughout the Americas, from North Central South America, that were completely different, that were very peaceful, that barely had any wars. I know there was tribes in California. The Ohlone was one of them. They were the indigenous peoples of San Francisco. They had thousands of years of peace. And a lot of historians and anthropologists, you know, they state that maybe arguably they have some of the largest standing recorded instances of peace between different nations, you know, and I think that's impressive. Sure, you could argue that they weren't technologically advanced, but if they can maintain peace for that long of a time, I mean, I believe that's pretty advanced for a people. Do you not think so? I think that's impressive. My message isn't about hating on white people. My message isn't hating on any specific race, to be honest. It's just pointing out, you know, inconsistencies. And I don't even think that a lot of it has to do with, you know, a lot of it is just miseducation and ignorance all around, you know. And I can say even native people, my people, can be very ignorant to their own history. And, you know, European Americans are especially very ignorant to other people's history and culture. But it's just kind of a general theme, you know. A lot of what has been taught and really has been pushed is basically, you know, the culture nowadays is a lot of drugs and partying. The culture today is about sleeping around and a lack of morality, I believe. I don't think the morals of this country, or even the mainstream culture around, like social media culture, has been healthy or productive for most people. And I think there's been a lot of drug culture being pushed, the alcohol, being disloyal to your partner, you know, drugs, lots of drugs, lots of violence, lots of stuff that is just disbalanced. And I think that culture is horrible. I think participating in that is horrible. And I think that if all of us human beings, regardless of race, are to come together finally, right, and be cool with one another, then there just needs to be some basic respect. And I don't even think it starts on the racial component. I think it just starts on the human component. Like if we, like, how most of us talk to our family members is pretty fucked up from what I've seen. How most of us treat our own brother, our own sister, is pretty fucked up. I just don't like it. I don't think that there's a good culture out there, and I think that there needs to be change. There needs to be research done. So, even amongst Native people and how we treat other Native people, it needs to be better. And I would say that for every race, really. I can agree with that. We live in a society where nobody cares. They don't care to hurt each other, hurt themselves, get drunk, beat each other down. People who say that they're your friends will cross you in any moment. I don't think that I don't think brotherhood is a joke. I never did. I think you should be always loyal to your friends. I think that you should be very loyal to, whoever you're with, if you're in your relationship. I think if you're going to say you're going to do something, regardless of, where you come from, you got to try to do it. If you say you're going to try to be a musician, go be a musician. If you say you're going to, you say you're going to, be whatever you want to be, you're going to go do it. But I think that there's a lot of bullshit going around. And I think that drugs and alcohol, and I think that this fucked up poisonous culture, romanticizing drugs and betraying one another, is the root of all evil. Even before race. It's not about, there are racial issues, but it does come down to how we treat ourselves at the end of the day. It does. At the end of the fucking day, it does. And I believe Native people, we need to wake up to the truth. We need to wake up to the truth of where the origin starts with how we talk to ourselves. What are we allowing? What are we allowing into our thought bubbles? What are we allowing? What are we allowing? I don't think hip hop and rap are necessarily bad. I'm going to be honest. I don't think they're necessarily bad. I just think that a lot of what's being rapped about is just absolute trash. I just fucked a bitch. Now I fucked your girl. I just did it, romanticizing cocaine and drug use. Horrible. When you make that normalized, you breed a spiritually deprived people. You breed a spiritually deprived people who have no self-respect, because they're willing to just, you're just making a demented society who are willing to fuck each other over. We can't be fucking each other over. Even if you disagree with me or another person, you got to try not to fuck other people over. I don't hate all people. I don't hate any specific group of people. I don't hate black people. I don't hate white people. I don't hate Asian people. I know that we're human beings. We have our flaws. But I know that there are some things that need to be changed in our own outlook with each other. I completely agree. To some extent, I don't think rap is bad. I don't think hip hop is bad. I think if you have a passion for it, it's a free country, it's a free world. Go try to go do it. If you like it, go for it. But I'm just gonna say, especially with Mexican people, you have culture, you have your roots. There is just so much untapped, indigenous, interesting shit to get into. Like there are so many beautiful arts. There are so many beautiful cultural elements that you could bring out in a contemporary, cool way. But yet, many of us, from what I see, choose to kind of emulate other groups. We want to be everything else but ourselves. you know. And I think that truth itself kind of goes with other groups as well. We want to be everything else but ourselves. Who taught you, from an indigenous perspective, who taught you who you were was wrong? Who taught you that there was something wrong with you? Who taught you that you were inferior? Who taught you that, that something about you is wrong or incorrect? That's not okay. Who taught you that? What belief taught you that? Did the media teach you that? Was it a movie that taught you that? Was it a book that taught you that? What is it that taught you that? And I challenge everybody to think about it. Who taught you that? Who taught you to see yourself in that way? Who taught you to think of yourself as inferior? Who taught you that you're ugly? Who taught you that you ain't worthy? Because that shit is vile. It's disgusting. And I believe everyone has greatness. Everyone has it already. It's just you got to act. And I think that we have such a low self-image of ourselves that we don't act. They're tied together. If I believe that my self-image is bad, then you're never going to act because you just simply have no belief. You got to have some form of belief in order to act or even try. You have to believe that maybe there's a shot. Maybe there's a time I can go. Maybe I can eventually be able to do this. But it does start with some form of fucking belief. You look at UFC fighters. You look at professional mixed martial artists. They all have one thing in common. They have a ridiculous ego. Maybe it's brought to a level where it ain't good. The ego can be horrible for you. But I will say that the positive side to having an ego is having some incredible sense of self-belief. Believing that you will help make radical change. You will transform yourself in some form or another. If I believe I can do things, I will act on them. You're worthy. I don't care what you've done in your life. I don't care if you've, I don't care what it is that you've done. But I know that you are worthy. Because every day, this is cliche to say, but it's so true. I believe it to my heart, my soul, my spirit. I just resonate with it. Every day you have a chance to be better. It may take time, it may take years, but if the intention is there and you really truly want to change, you can change. Just think about all the transformations that have occurred with people. If we couldn't change or transform ourselves, there would be no growth in human evolution. There'd be no growth in human beings at all. If we could not change, we can transform for the better. If you did wrong, if you know you've done wrong in your past, let it be in the past. Change. You don't have to be that person anymore. You don't have to be the guy who makes mistakes anymore, or the girl who makes mistakes. Makes those type of mistakes. If you're hurting people, stop. If you're hurting yourself, stop. You can be good. You can transform yourself. You're not obligated to be who you were just because it was bad, just because you've done wrong. You're not obligated to stay there. You're not obligated to stay there anymore. It's okay to grow yourself. It's okay to forgive yourself and become a better person. You can become smarter. You become more calm. You can change yourself in a way where you're not harming yourself, whether it be food, drugs, um, maybe you have emotional problems, maybe you have anger issues, or maybe you're depressed. All those things can be affected. They can be transformed. Do I know if Tecumseh? I'm back, guys. Sorry. I don't know why there was some issue there, but yeah. YouTube sabotaging my stream. I believe it. Shit. Thank you. Have a good one, Phoenix, bro. Anyone recognize that one? It's a popular one. I ain't much of a singer at all, but I'll go for it. I make weird faces when I play because I'm feeling the beat for sure, but yeah. Trying to remember lyrics. Fuck that. Goes. I prepared to die. Vibe with that if you can. I'm a beginner, but I'm going for it. If someone wants to put down the lyrics for Bad Moon Rising, I don't know them by heart, but if you could just copy and paste and throw them in the comments, then I'm gonna go for singing it. If not, that's completely cool. But yeah. Guys, try to chill out in the comments. You don't gotta make it into this big old fucking needless. You're probably wasting time. You got shit to do. I'm sure it'd be on some random ass dude's page on YouTube. I have poems. I used to be more into making poems when I was younger. I stopped making poems. I've tried doing other creative ventures. I've done some poems. I've made some poems. I've written some poems. I play the music sometimes. I like to try to speak. I am not the best at it, but I enjoy it when I speak the message. Good at conveying a message. I'm gonna keep practicing and see if I can make that message clearer. All right, guys. Well, I think that's it for me. Thank you for joining me on my live. I know we had some sort of weird connection issue, but moving forward, we'll see if we can get a better grip on that, huh? Are you still staying active, grappling, boxing, MMA? Unfortunately, I haven't been able to keep up with my judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling as much as I would like to, due to, I just moved to a new city, and my money's been tight, living day to day, but I'm sure I'll be back to training soon. I always do. But we'll see. If you guys support what I do, please give a like, a comment, a subscribe, follow. Take it easy. Believe in yourself. Believe what you do. You all have something out there that you got to do. Practice believing in it. Practice going for it. You got this. What does it look like? What's it look like to give it your all? And I was just thinking about this a second ago. I wanted to share this. What's it look like to truly give your all? And I'm not saying like, trying to emulate what you see off of social media when you see a guy or a girl who's really in shape or who's really rich. Or what does it look like for you? What does it look like to give your all for you? What does that look like? What is standing up for your health, standing up for your finances, whatever it may be, your emotional state, your mental health? What does that look like for you? How do you get there? What does it look like this year, 2025, to give it your all? Whatever that may be. Maybe it could be as, a small goal of talking to that woman at the coffee shop, or maybe you want to write something, or you want to paint a beautiful picture, or you want to learn an instrument, or you want to get in better shape. Whatever that thing is, or maybe it's just general health. What does that look like? What does it look like to give your all? Can you give your all? Push yourself. I want you to test the odds. Fuck what they say on the internet. Fuck all logic. Fuck all logic when it comes to completing your goals. What does it look like to say I can? What does it look like to believe in yourself and going for it? Shoot for the kill. Go for it. Go for it. What does it look like to give your all? Find that thing to give your all to and become a servant for it. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Take it easy.